I did a video about what would Jesus say today if Jesus was alive or in another human incarnate form. One of the things I want to talk about is what are the lessons that Jesus learned and would do differently this time. One of the biggest lessons is know who you surround yourself with. Thoroughly vet them, thoroughly look down all of their pathways, thoroughly look into their energy field, look for any potential pitfalls or any betrayals. Because betrayal was a huge, huge energy that Jesus took on, that took many, many, many thousands of years to heal. And that betrayal, of course, of his right hand, also God the Father, because Jesus wasn't aware that God the Father was just a false narrative, a front, an ego. That actual God, if you look at God, you know God, you understand God. God doesn't have a label, doesn't have a polarity, it doesn't have a title. It's just God. And so Jesus fell into the trap of believing that God the Father was the only part of God there was. Jesus didn't understand that there was God the Mother, didn't understand until he went to hell and had a good old conversation with his soulmate, Lucifer. So if Jesus were alive today, Jesus would teach, or the lesson that he learned was that there's more to God than just God the Father. God the Father was a label, it was false, it wasn't real. God is just God. The other thing is, like I said, vet your people, your inner circle. Make sure those that are in your circle that you're teaching have your back. Not to stab you in the back, but got your back. Because we don't want another Judas on our hands, do we? Because that was not a fun experience, was it? So, there's two lessons. The other lesson I think Jesus would have learned from that experience is not everybody's ready for what you have to teach. Ain't your responsibility to teach people. Ain't your responsibility to show them the way. It ain't your responsibility to elevate them, to heal them. You're not a martyr. You're not a victim. What is your responsibility is you. And you need to put you first. You need to understand the truth about you. You need to understand the truth about the universe. You need to understand the truth about God, source. Until you understand the truth and you are the truth and you can transition out of the polarity game, then what is the point of teaching and elevating and throwing your stones or throwing your seeds, your seeds on barren land? Nobody's going to believe you. Nobody cares. Very few. And even at that, they're still going to be lingered into their own doubt, fear, human experience, if you're just talking about the human plane. So Jesus has learned that take care of your damn self first. You come first, make yourself whole, get back to your divinity, and then you lead by example. And the other thing is that if Jesus were to come out, wouldn't do it until he can prove it. Ain't no way Jesus is going to put himself in a situation again where he is hung on a cross. Learn that lesson. That is not a fun experience. Anyone that's ever gone through the stigmata wouldn't understand the pain is the most intense pain I've ever felt in my life, even worse than childbirth. And childbirth was horrible. And this had nothing, it was hours of pain. Feeling the stakes going through my hands and my feet, feeling the anguish and the pain throughout my body and in my head. It was horrible. So I'm sure there's others out there that have gone through that experience, have experienced that energy. It's just an energy. Tap into it. It's fluid. Energy is fluid. It has no right, wrong, positive, negative. It's a label. So what would Jesus have learned? Lesson number 3. Don't teach people. Keep your shit to yourself. Keep your ideas, your thoughts, your beliefs, your knowing, your knowledge, your wisdom. You earned it. Don't give it away. Why would you give it away? Especially to people who, number 1, aren't going to believe you. Number 2, they ain't ready to hear it. And number 3, if you do tell them, they might pull another hang you on the cross act. Forget that. And then also Jesus would have learned the lesson of if he reincarnated in a body, that, like I said before, don't come out until you can absolutely prove it. Meaning, don't do shit until you can absolutely transition into divinity. Meaning, Neo-level shit. Meaning, proving this illusion isn't just that, an illusion. And also, having all of your abilities so that if shit does get real, you have the ability to get the fuck out of here, time space jump, or switch into a different form, or just swipe it away. Until then, you won't see Jesus walk this plane. At least you won't know if Jesus is. Because Jesus has learned a thing or two in these 2,000 plus years. The other thing is that Jesus is only one half of the equation. The universe is always balanced. Especially in a polarized universe. You can't have a positive without a negative. The power is in the zero. The power is in the integration and understanding you are all of it and transforming from it and then controlling your reality. That's when things start to get real. But if Jesus were here today, he'd have to reconcile with his other half, bring that into uniform with itself, within self, and then other, and start again. Those are just a couple of lessons that I believe Jesus would have learned. But who am I?